inspired by my favorite Chinese takeout, today we're gonna prepare a Kung Pao chickpea with my favorite ingredient. This is the one I have trendy right now, so we're gonna do a Kung Pao chicken version, but using chickpea at home. This is a very delicious and simple recipe that you should really try because it's delicious. So let's get started. This is Sofi's Tips, the channel where we try to make life in the kitchen simpler, easier, more convenient. So we talk about different appliances, different tools that you can use, different tips and recipes. If any of these topics interest you, please subscribe. It's totally free. All you have to do is click on that subscribe button. For this recipe, I recommend doing a very neat mise en place, or everything together ready in its place. This concept really applies to this recipe because we're gonna do a sauté function in the Instant Pot. So you wanna have everything ready on top of your table before we actually start cooking. This is gonna make your recipe go even faster, and it's gonna make your kitchen be less messy. The first thing we're gonna do is start by chopping the veggies that we're gonna use. The first veggie that you're gonna need is onion. I used red onion. This makes it look nicer and the color looks better in terms of the plating. If for some reason you don't have red onion, I have yellow or white. You can use that one, that's fine. You're gonna need one big onion. Mine weighed about 490 grams. And what you're gonna do is clean it, and then you're gonna cut it into squares that are about the same size as a chickpea. This is gonna help us when you grab a spoonful of the plate, you're gonna get a little bit of every ingredient. Now, all of the portions I'm gonna tell you today are enough for 4 people. So I'm gonna give you 4 servings for this recipe. The next ingredient that we're gonna chop is peppers. We're gonna use some red bell peppers. Again, if you have another color of bell peppers or you would like to use another one, you can. You're gonna need 2 of them. Mine weighed together 355 grams. So you wanna go somewhere around there. You need to cut them in about the same size as a chickpea. For that, remember, you have to remove the stem and then you have to cut it to make sure you clean everything inside. Inside, the bell peppers have a little bit of veins and sometimes they have seeds in there. So I recommend you use a spoon to kind of scrape inside and have everything cleaned before you start chopping. They should look exactly like this. Once you see that everything is clean inside, then you start cutting into the pieces. Those pieces were a little bit bigger than the onions, but still keeping about the same size of a chickpea. Now we're going for 2 ingredients that are gonna give us that oriental flavor. We're gonna use some ginger and we're gonna use some garlic. We're gonna start with the ginger. What you have to do with the ginger is you have to peel it, remove the skin. I used a knife, but if you think that that might be too hard or you don't have enough experience, or I don't want you to cut yourself, so there's another 2 ways of doing it. You can use a peeler, so a potato peeler, or you can use the edge of a spoon to scrape off all of the part of the outside. You wanna make sure that it looks like this. This is completely clean. Once you have it like this, then you're gonna mince it, and you wanna do about 2 tablespoons of that, which weigh about 30 grams. Now let's go with the garlic. The garlic, I did 3 cloves of garlic that weigh 10 grams. It could be 2 or 3 depending on the size of your garlic. And you're gonna peel them. Make sure that you take off all of the skin, and then you're gonna mince them about the same size as the ginger. Now that we finished cutting all of our veggies, it's time to do that mise en place that we talk about. So you're gonna do the different veggies. You're gonna need 1 pound or 454 grams of cooked chickpeas. If you wanna know how to make the chickpeas in the Instant Pot, I'm gonna leave that video right here. If you've already seen it or you're gonna use canned chickpeas, then you can continue with this recipe. And you're gonna take out all of the things that we're gonna add. You're gonna need sesame oil, you're gonna need soy sauce, you're gonna need pepper flakes, you're gonna need balsamic vinegar, you're gonna need maple syrup, and you're gonna need sesame seeds and chives as a garnish. Now, let's start cooking. So the first thing that you're gonna do is turn on the Instant Pot. We're gonna use the sauté function. I'm gonna program it for 20 minutes at high temperature. Once it's preheating, I'm gonna add some cooking oil. You can use any cooking oil that you like. For me, I like using avocado oil, so that's the one I'm gonna add. You want to have a thin layer at the bottom to make sure that nothing sticks to the bottom of the pot. Once it's preheated and the Instant Pot has told you it's ready to cook, what we're gonna do is add the onion, all of the onion, and make sure for this recipe to keep mixing. Keep mixing so you don't have anything stick at the bottom of the pot, especially if your Instant Pot has stainless steel and not a non-stick surface. You want to make sure to have your spatula there so you can mix every time that you add an ingredient, and to be there always checking that, make sure that nothing sticks to the bottom of the pot. After about a minute, you're gonna add the next ingredient. You're gonna add those red peppers. So you're gonna mix them and make sure that everything incorporates. You wanna see onions and red peppers, everything mixed. And they start changing color. So you're gonna notice that they're starting to have a golden color. That's something that you wanna see. The onion starts to get tender. That's also good. After about a minute, we're gonna add the next ingredient, which is the ginger. The ginger is gonna give us that aroma of an Asian plate. So that's very important to do it almost at the beginning to make sure that all of the veggies start absorbing that flavor. So you're gonna mix that. About a minute later, you're gonna add the garlic. Same thing, you wanna make sure that you mix everything while you're adding each ingredient. Now it's time to add all of our liquids, starting with the sesame oil. We're gonna add a teaspoon of that. It's gonna give us a very nice flavor, very toasty flavor. That's what you want. And the next ingredient that you're gonna add is the soy sauce. For the soy sauce, I recommend you add 3 tablespoons, about 45 grams of soy sauce. But if for some reason you have a diet that restricts salt or sodium, I recommend either just going for a less sodium soy sauce or doing that in half. So instead of doing 3, maybe 1.5 or even 1 tablespoon. That's fine, it's gonna be good. Now let's go with the balsamic vinegar. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons of that, or 30 grams. And remember, you have to keep mixing. Every time that you add an ingredient, keep mixing. This will help us to have incorporation of the flavors of everything kind of merging into one thing, and also preventing the sticking at the bottom. And to have that kind of sweet and sour mixture, we need to add something sweet. So we're gonna use maple syrup. I use a tablespoon of that. And finally, to have that spicy kick, we're gonna add those pepper flakes. I added a teaspoon of them. If you're not into spicy food, then I recommend not adding any. But if you really like spicy, maybe you want a spoonful instead of a teaspoon. It all depends. It depends on your taste. If you want to start with a neutral recipe, with 1 teaspoon, it's okay. And now that we have everything, I recommend you mix it one more time to have everything together, including that pepper flake. So you want to see everything look homogeneous before you add our star ingredient, the one and only chickpea. So once you add the chickpea, it's very important that when you mix, you do it very softly. So make sure that you don't crush those chickpeas. You want to keep that form of the chickpea. So when you grab the spoonful, you have some texture, just like the chicken. Otherwise, it's going to be something else. So just make sure that when you do your movements, do it in a way that you do it softly and take care of your ingredients. Now that we've done that, about a minute later, you're gonna turn off that Instant Pot. For me, the total time of the cook was 10 minutes. So I kind of added the first ingredients every minute, and then you just add everything else, and it's gonna take you about 10 minutes. Now that we have them, it's ready to serve. What I recommend is using some rice as a base. So here is the rice. I cooked it beforehand in the Instant Pot. If you want to know how to do rice, this is jasmine rice in the Instant Pot, let me know in the comments so we can upload that video. And once you have that rice, you're gonna do about 3 spoons of the actual mix, of the actual Kung Pao mix. And then you're gonna do your garnish. So you wanna start with those chives using scissors. I recommend cutting the back of those chives very thinly. Try to do the same size so you get cylinders that are the same size. At the end, you're gonna add the sesame seeds. I do not recommend you skip them because they give 2 things. One of them, a great presentation, very Instagrammable. And second thing, it gives you texture, it gives you freshness. So you wanna keep those fresh ingredients there, those crunchy ingredients there, so you have a very nice spoonful, and the taste and the flavor and the mix, everything goes together. So don't skip the garnish. And here you have it, the Kung Pao Chickpea. What do you think? Do you think it's a good substitute? Do you think it's better than the actual Kung Pao chicken? What I can tell you, and I'm gonna leave that nutritional information down at the bottom, it is healthier. And you're gonna feel full. So it is a complete meal. You can use it as a dinner, you can use it for lunch, you can eat it any time of the day. So tell me in the comments, what do you think? Do you wanna see the regular version? We can do that as well. Kung Pao chicken from scratch? Let me know in the comments. Just comment anything. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Would you like to see that recipe? Anything. Even a period will do. An emoji, thumbs up, thumbs down. Just let us know. And if you're here, thank you so much for watching the recipe. Don't forget to subscribe. We have more recipes like this. I'm gonna leave you at the end of this video more recipes with chickpea and with the Instant Pot. See you next time. Ciao. Now let's try this. I kept talking about the spoonful, so let's see. If you prepare this a day before you eat it, it's gonna taste better. So maybe you do a meal prep with this and then you heat it the day after. It's gonna be really good.